Up next on the Rockbridge Report, how flooding is taking over parts of West Virginia and how Rockbridge County schools reacted to the heavy rainfall that hit here too. See if the rain will continue on our weather forecast coming up. After that, see how the federal worker buyout plan could affect you. And find out plans for the furriest vocational program in its brand new Rockbridge County classroom. Later, food insecurity is on the rise in Rockbridge. See how local organizations are stepping up. All that and more coming up right now on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news from Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Cammie Knott.
And I'm Gabe Ketchum. Virginia and West Virginia are seeing heavy rain today, and in some cases, extreme flooding. In Huntington, West Virginia, residents are waking up to floodwaters taking over some neighborhoods after overnight rainfall swept through the area. Tires of cars can be seen covered as roads remain completely covered in floodwaters. Closer to home, Rockbridge County Public Schools ran on a 2-hour delay because of the rainfall. This comes after the school system canceled 2 weeks of school for snow, and one of the elementary schools closed for an extra 2 days because of illness. Simone Schwartz joins us later in the newscast to tell us if there is more rain to come in Rockbridge. Phone lines are currently out of service at all schools in Rockbridge County. The school district's Facebook said a major fiber line cut in the community shut down the phone systems and internet. The Post advised parents to visit the school in person to contact their children.
Buena Vista, Lexington, and Rockbridge County officials have preliminarily approved an $8 million contract for a new Department of Social Services building, $2 million under the total budget. The Rockbridge Report's John Little is live at the Rockbridge County building on Main Street. John, are we looking at possible final approval tonight?
Yes, the Lexington City Council will meet here in less than 2 hours, and the DSS building is on the agenda. Approval is expected. One of the reasons the project came under budget was that the rooftop solar panels planned to cost $340,000 were left out. The design allows for the panels to be added later. Construction would start at the Food Lion in Buena Vista along Route 60. Construction would take 14 months, and construction would start in 1 month. Live at the Rockbridge County building, I'm John Little with the Rockbridge Report.
Thanks, John. Sugar Maple Trading Company, a local gift store, was forced to close for a month after a burst pipe flooded the store. As Emily Scaff reports, owners are working on repairs to reopen as soon as possible.
The owners of Sugar Maple Trading Company discovered a large water spot on the ceiling on January 7th, indicating a leak. Repair crews identified the source 3 days later, prompting the store to close for repairs and shift to online sales.
It took a few days to get the right people out to look at it, and they finally had to open up the ceiling. And when they did, there was a pipe that had a connection that had sprung a leak.
The burst pipe flooded the store for 3 days while the repair crew tried to find the source of the leak. The flooding caused significant damage to the floors.
Water was just pouring, and it was pouring down the walls, and it was coming into the floors.
Hughes says that the age of the pipes may have been a reason behind the leak. Patrick Madigan, director of Lexington Public Works, says that aging infrastructure is a common issue in downtown buildings.
I mean, being a historic city, things would trend more towards, being old, until someone gets in there and maybe does a renovation.
Madigan says that shifts in weather could have also been a factor behind the leak.
Everything is moving, and when you move or flexure, things are gonna crack.
The owners of Sugar Maple adapted by improving their online sales system. Hughes says that online sales have increased since the closure.
This whole thing actually has been kind of a silver lining for us, because the things that we thought were going to take several months to adapt and to work through, we've been able to compress it into January.
Hughes says the team at Sugar Maple has been working to get the store back up and running before Valentine's Day. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Emily Scaff.
The California wildfires took out thousands of homes and businesses, but even businesses that still have buildings are impacted. Nicole Comstock reports.
The dining room is packed at Bar Chalou in Pasadena's Playhouse Village, but the owner says reservations only increased because he announced this morning the restaurant is closing, due in part to the Eaton fire in Altadena.
For that to go down to just get destroyed and to wonder what the future holds is enough for us to, like, to pack up shop.
Partner and chef Douglas Rankin says his business has been cut about in half since the fire because about 30% of his regulars were from Altadena. He says interest-bearing loans aren't exactly appetizing for many small businesses.
There's the option of like taking out a loan, and it's like, and then what? To get buried in more debt again? Like, how is that helping?
That's what LA County's Department of Economic Opportunity is trying to help with.
So since January 7th, we have been inundated with impacted small businesses.
Director Kelly Lobianco says starting Thursday, small businesses and workers impacted by the wildfires can apply for cash grants of between $2,000 to $25,000 through the new LA Region Small Business and Worker Relief Fund. They do need to apply by February 24th.
Revenue loss to structural loss. We know that this impacts folks' bottom line.
Dwight Ferguson says his business here at New Wave Barbershop on Lake Avenue in Pasadena is down by about 60% since the fire.
We haven't been getting many haircuts in here. A lot of us lost our homes. We're still trying to do our part.
He's been giving free haircuts and food to fire victims, even though he also lost his Altadena home in the fire. The flames burned up to his front door at 6 in the morning by the time he and his roommate realized they had to evacuate. They barely made it out alive.
And we had to pick up this huge branch that was on fire. It was hot, burning our hands. We had to move it to the side to try to get out of there.
He says they didn't have insurance, so their home was a total loss. So community members are helping raise money online so they can stay afloat.
We made it through the COVID pandemic. If we can make it through that, we will make it through these wildfires. So we're not going to go anywhere. We're going to be right here for the community that loves us, and we love the community back.
At least 40,000 federal workers are opting into the deferred resignation program, according to a Trump administration official. That's below the White House goal of a 5 to 10% reduction in the federal workforce. The program offers people in certain positions a kind of buyout. They have until 11:59 tonight to accept the offers. CNN's Amy Kiley reports on what mass resignations could mean for the American public.
The American people elected Donald Trump because they thought he was going to be a sledgehammer against this government.
Federal employees offered a deferred resignation package have until the end of today to decide whether to accept it. Trump administration officials say they could face layoffs after that deadline. The packages allow workers to quit now and get paid through September 30th. Several unions are suing to temporarily stop the program. The Office of Personnel Management is also offering an early retirement incentive. It's for workers 50 years old and up with at least 20 years of service and those of any age with at least 25 years on the job.
There is nothing bad about the politics of this right now, about going through the government and reporting to the American people, did you know your money's going here?
The pseudo buyouts are part of President Donald Trump's efforts to overhaul the government and rein in spending. Some analysts think they'll backfire.
It's certainly not a cost-cutting measure to throw away decades of experience and millions of dollars in training.
Another concern is public safety. Military positions and other critical roles are exempt, but the CIA says it's offering the packages to its entire workforce.
They're getting rid of all of the people that really have the background and experience that can keep us safe and know how to do their job.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
More than a third of households in Rockbridge County struggle to afford basic needs. That's according to United for Alice, a nonprofit research initiative that tracks financial hardships. Local organizations are stepping up, providing more meals and resources to thousands of residents. To learn more, check out Carmen Bunker's story on rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
Coming up next on the Rockbridge Report, the Small Animal Care Program still has no small animals. See what plans they have for their new classroom. And right after the break, find out why the Lexington Police Department decided to buy a Tesla and how the officer is adjusting to an all-electric car. Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report.
If you've seen a black Tesla cruising through Lexington with flashing blue lights, don't be alarmed. It's just the Lexington Police Department's newest car. The Tesla is a representation of the department's push towards environmentally friendly policies. Erica Kenny reports.
The Lexington Police Department purchased a Tesla. Detective Donovan Lewis uses the car in the course of his investigations. He says that it took some time to get used to the fully electric vehicle.
It was a learning curve because I've never driven anything that was fully electric.
Since he got the Tesla in September, charging it has not been much of an issue for Lewis. But he did have one close call.
It lost some charge because it got cold overnight, and I was like, am I going to make it back to work?
Lexington City Manager Tom Carroll spearheaded the effort to buy the police department a Tesla.
I think it's incumbent upon all organizations to do whatever they can to reduce their carbon footprint.
It cost the department about $40,000 in total to buy the used Tesla Model Y, a charger for the vehicle, and to outfit it for police use. According to Carroll, a fully retrofitted used gasoline car would have cost about $60,000. Lexington Police Chief Angela Green is proposing that the department purchase 6 plug-in hybrid vehicles that can be used for patrol. Each car would cost about $50,000, with an additional $34,000 in retrofitting costs, bringing the total up to $84,000 for each hybrid police car. Green says that she is wary of getting more than one fully electric vehicle for the police, since the nearest EV servicer is an hour away from Lexington. Despite this, Carroll is pushing for more EVs.
I will be urging that we get electric vehicles.
Carroll hopes to electrify the entire Lexington Police Department fleet by 2030. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Erica Kenny.
Lexington plans to increase the water bills for Washington and Lee University and Virginia Military Institute in April. The city manager says the new revenue will lessen the impact of future water rate increases for residents and other customers. For details, read Jordan Hoover's story at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu. A program that teaches students how to care for and manage small animals is waiting to move into the new classroom at Rockbridge County High School. Of the 16 programs, small animal care is the only one yet to move into the new space. Emmy Amison explains.
There are no animals in the center, but students hope to soon welcome bunnies, birds, and dogs, much like these.
They could do checks on small animals. They could do grooming. It's specifically set to do examinations of live animals.
The new space will allow for animals to board overnight and during the day. It is also located directly next to an entrance of the Innovation Center, so animals no longer have to walk through the school hallways.
Starting with our staff members, is an opportunity to have their dogs groomed there, or let their dogs come in and let the students check them out.
The school hopes that the public will be able to bring their pets in the future too.
The school-based enterprise for this program specifically is going to be grooming. So we're going to create a grooming business.
Dr. Kraft says the students are eager to use the new space since the lab and classroom are all in the same room.
We have all the equipment, that you can see in the background, from the wash tub to the tables to do the grooming.
The school is hoping that students begin to use the facilities by the end of February, depending on when the teacher returns from leave. With the Rockbridge Report, I'm Emmy Amison.
The Democratic-led Virginia State House debated hot-button issues such as gun control, minimum wage, and abortion rights this week. Tuesday was the last day for each chamber to vote on its own legislation. Many bills proposed by Democrats are a replay of the dozens of bills that Governor Glenn Youngkin vetoed last year. But first, the bills will go to the opposite chamber for a vote. Coming up next on the Rockbridge Report, find out about North Carolina's plans to begin rebuilding homes after Hurricane Helene.
Hi, I'm Simone Schwartz here with the Rockbridge Report. Conditions have cleared up today. It ended up turning out to be nice, sunny. However, these nicer, warmer conditions are to be short-lived, and I'll have more to it on my forecast later.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. North Carolina is still recovering from Hurricane Helene. House lawmakers proposed a new bill to start rebuilding homes. CNN's Laura Leslie reports.
House Helene Recovery Chairman John Bell said the $500 million proposal comes after discussions between House and Senate leaders and the governor's office.
Of course, we know that no matter what appropriation we're able to do is never going to be enough, but this is a starting point with multiple bills after this to follow.
There are significant differences between what the House is proposing and what Governor Stein asked for. Both proposals would set aside $150 million to start rebuilding homes destroyed by the storm. But Stein also wanted $150 million for grants for small businesses, while the House bill does not include any aid to businesses at all. Bell said that could be added later in the process as the bill moves through the Senate.
If we go that route, we want to be able to help the small business owners, not the Walmart or the Family Dollars or those large corporations. Or what if you had somebody that maybe serviced the area that didn't live in the area?
The House bill would also spend more money than Stein proposed to help farmers and to rebuild private roads and bridges, but it does not include any money for mortgage, rent, or food bank assistance or help for local governments. Bell thinks a lot of that assistance will come from the federal government.
What we don't want to do is we don't want to mess up a 90-10 match where the federal government's going to fund 9% of it and us fund 10. So we're being very strategic on how we do this.
I gotta tell you guys, I was not pleased with the news that Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow, meaning 6 more weeks of winter on Sunday.
Hey, I don't know what Punxsutawney Phil saw, but it's been feeling a little warmer recently. Simone, can you talk to us about the outlook for the next couple days?
Yes, Gabe. Well, unfortunately, this sunny weather is going to be short-lived. Taking a look at our current conditions, wow, 60 degrees and sunny today with a low of 37 degrees and a barometric pressure of 28.87 inches, a wind speed of 13 miles per hour and humidity of 81%. Now, as we take a look at our radar, we can see that the clouds have cleared up, mostly sunny and clear skies. And now, as we take a look at our regional conditions, we can see similar weather here in Lexington, 51 degrees and cloudy. Same with Buena Vista. And then as we get into Stanton, 52 degrees, a little bit cooler in Charlottesville, 46 degrees, Lynchburg, 45. And now as we get into Covington, similarly 49 degrees and cloudy and 47 degrees in Roanoke. Now for our forecast. Friday, still sunny conditions with a high of 55 degrees, low of 34 degrees. Then we're getting into our more back to winter conditions this Saturday with some freezing rain conditions and a high of 40 with a low of 37 degrees. As we get into next week, Sunday, we can expect a high of 51 degrees and a low of 30 degrees. And now on Monday, we're really getting back to our winter conditions with a high of 42 degrees and a low of 31, and we can expect that to continue with some freezing rain in the forecast on Tuesday with a high of 38 and a low of 32. Now back to you, Gabe and Cammie.
Thanks, Simone. Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, find out more about the executive order Trump signed on National Women and Girls in Sports Day.
With this executive order, the war on women's sports is over.
WNL men's basketball lost their 10-game winning streak last weekend, but they got back into their groove with a win last night. Catherine Cately has the scores. Next. Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report. A major breakthrough has come through regarding President Trump and the women's sports community.
That's right. And President Trump has been signing several executive orders since coming back into the Oval Office. Catherine, can you tell us what that means for women's sports?
Absolutely, Cammie. President Donald Trump signed an executive order at the White House on Wednesday, banning transgender women from competing in women's sports. Trump was surrounded by dozens of women and some young girls in athletic uniforms as he signed the executive order titled Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports. The WNL women's basketball team ended their 10-game winning streak this past Saturday with an 86-83 loss against Randolph-Macon College. But to celebrate National Women and Girls in Sports Day, the Generals brought a win home to Lexington last night. Women's basketball beat Randolph College 70-61. As for W&L men's basketball, they took 2 losses this week. On Saturday, they lost to Shenandoah University at home 65-52. Last night, they traveled to Ferrum College, where they lost 101-68. VMI men's basketball did not have better luck. Last night, the team lost 60-55 in a game versus East Tennessee State University. This weekend, VMI men and women's swim teams will travel just down the road to compete at the Virginia Tech Invitational. SVU women's basketball took care of business Tuesday night. They took down Salem College 81-48 to extend their winning streak to 16 straight wins. The SVU softball is looking forward to a successful season. The team is ranked 7th in the USA South preseason poll. It sure has been a historic week for women's sports.
Thank you, Catherine. A 10-month-old baby in the Boston area can now hear her parents for the first time in her young life. It's thanks to surgeons who fitted her with a medical device. CNN's Paul Burton has the story.
Yeah, that is so cool. It was a joyful, unforgettable moment the Sinclair family has been waiting to hear. Their 10-month-old baby, Charlie, hearing for the very first time in her life.
Oh, man. It was almost like a weight was lifted off my heart, not my shoulders.
Charlie was born deaf with a genetic disorder called Usher syndrome that will eventually cause vision loss as well.
And ultimately, it results in progressive hearing loss. In some kids, like in Charlie's case, they're born with significant, severe to profound sensorineural hearing loss, as well as progressive vision loss.
But now Charlie can hear thanks to cochlear implants, a small electronic device that was surgically implanted at UMass Memorial Medical Center.
Because these little things right here are the microphones, and then these are attached to the actual device in her head and help to relay and transmit the sounds.
For mom and dad, the cochlear implant procedure is life-changing.
Like birds chirping and being able to experience that. And knowing that she's going to go blind, I wanted her to really experience everything possible she could.
And for Charlie, she was really deprived of the hearing sense. She wasn't getting any sensation of sound. So the first time those cochlear implants were activated was the first time she heard her dad's voice. She had never heard that before.
It's only been a week and the family says Charlie has shown remarkable progress. Not only has the procedure helped her with her cognitive skills, but it's also helped Charlie with her balance.
And within 2 weeks after having the surgery, not only can she hear, but she's crawling and she's sitting on her own.
Filled with a lot of spunk and energy, the family says Charlie will still need a lot of extra services, and they're raising money online to help her with development and listening skills.
It's an adventure every day.
Nice.
That's a positive adventure.
I think she's definitely ready to tackle the world.
And all the beautiful sounds that come with it.
That's all for the Rockbridge Report.
Thanks for watching.
It's a great time of the weather.